The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Diving right back into it. Welcome back to The Local Show with Tom and Steve. We've been talking with Joe Stanley, Esquire, the founding partner of the Stanley Law offices. Joe, you've grown quite a bit over the years. Do you still get out and litigate?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I still keep myself busy. You know, that's one of the things about running a business that when you went into law school, they didn't teach you.
That wasn't part of it.
And you know, other lawyers have said that, and I'd much rather try a case or practice law than run a business. I mean, it's you know, if I wanted to run a business and that would have been my goal, I would have went to business school and got an MBA. I don't know if I would have done better or worse, but at least I would have been trained. Sure. And I had to learn. I mean, now I spend a considerable more time than I want to, but it's necessary to make sure things are operating properly.
You were talking about there's a lot of people in the space. Those are my words, not yours. How do you differentiate yourself? Because it feels like there's a lot of attorneys out there that maybe are trying to talk to the same people. Is that fair?
Well, yes. I mean, there's an incredible amount of competition. There's an incredible amounts of money spent on advertising. And differentiation is something that you can do to a degree as long as people are listening. I mean, my goal and my advertising and my intent is to give people information so they understand what questions they need to ask, what their rights might be, and that I am going to illustrate to them how that works. I'm not going to tell them that X, Y, and Z are going to happen without them understanding how the process works, what their chances are of this, and that. And I believe that the more information you give people, the more informed they are, and the more understanding they should be or will be when either things can and will go wrong or take longer than they hope. Because there is no absolutes in our business. There isn't any. Yeah. No matter how hurt the people are, there's no guarantee until the case is resolved that you're actually going to turn out with a favorable outcome. So differentiation is hopefully something that people can appreciate and that they understand that my goal is to give them knowledge so that it empower them so they can make the decision, not be telling them this is what they should do.
One of the things that Joe's done effectively, I think, is come up with that Joe knows, type of personality. And people started to recognize that you're the expert in that area, right? Because Joe knows,
Well, I've had fun doing it I've had fun doing it over the years. And I like to actually answer people's questions. I go out, people know me, and I think it's an honor when people come up to me, whether it's in Costco or Wegmans or whatever, and ask me questions. And I really think it's an honor, and it's very humbling to say that people will actually feel comfortable enough to come up and do ask me a question.
Yeah, and then you're approachable, and that's good because sometimes people feel, doctors or a lawyer, oh geez, I can't approach them.
Marketing guys, they don't mind talking to us. They spell everything because we're just marketing guys.
Well, I just grew up here. I didn't, I'm from here. I don't ever try to differentiate myself from all the other people that I live with and have grown up with. And this is a place that I.
How many people do you have in the practice?
Well, total employees we have 35. I think we have 11 lawyers at this point. Mm-hmm. We have 3 workers' comp, 1 Social Security, and the rest are the personal injury lawyers. So we have a pretty busy place.
And being out there as you are, let's be honest, you must get some pretty strange calls. Let's be honest.
Well, yes, the truth is much stranger than fiction. Yes. It is, there are, and I've always learned now is that I can never say I've heard it all because I haven't, and I will continue to have some just incredible scenarios. And what's sad is that the people get themselves in these situations and then they're calling after the fact. And I can, it's very sad
Right.
And if anybody takes anything away from this, is that before you get yourself at the bottom of the rabbit hole or at the bottom of this pit, ask for help, ask questions, avoid getting to a place where you're in a whole world of hurt and then expecting somebody's going to, send you a lifeline, which it may not be available.
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you start doing something when you're already in a bad way, first of all, your options are extremely limited and there may not be any solution.
Sounds like you care about people. Am I wrong? That's what I'm hearing there, Joe. I'm hearing that, you know what?
Right.
There's sometimes people reach out to us. It's too late. We can't help. And it makes you sad that you can't.
Well, that happens more often than not. And they reach out to us about things we can't handle that I know I can't really tell them that you're out of luck, even though I do, even though I don't handle this kind of work.
Right, sure.
I can't say you're out of luck, but I tell them, okay, you need to get to a lawyer or somebody who does this, not necessarily even a legal issue, where they're going to try and help you, but I'm going to say you better do something right away because you're in a very difficult situation. And it's unfortunate. And again, I think people are afraid, they think that lawyers are expensive or people aren't approachable. I still think that asking questions and keeping yourself out of as much trouble as possible is incredibly important. And you don't want to be in a place where you can't be helped.
Yeah. Societally, we tend to have a lot of people who play the victim role now, right? Everybody's a victim. Do you ever have anybody call up and say, hey, look, this person hurt my feelings and I'd like to sue for hurting feelings?
We get a whole litany of people who have perceived or real grievances in their own mind. And I don't think that's changed any.
Okay.
I think there's just more outlets for them to air their grievances than there were 30 or 40 years ago, whether it's the internet or whether it's, the media in general, where people can air all of these perceived problems that in the past, if you uttered that in a group of people you knew, I would say, okay.
Right. But being here in town maybe makes a difference. There again, we talked about all the possible options and attorneys that are all over the place, and maybe they're not here, but you're a homegrown guy right here. So when someone talks about West Tennessee Street, I drive it all, what they're talking about. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I we have a big office in Binghamton and Watertown, and I lived in Binghamton 2 years when I got my master's degree, and I've spent my whole life in upstate New York, so I've been. If there's a city or town in this upstate that I haven't been, that's east of or west of Albany and west that I haven't been to, I'd be surprised. And I've been to some pretty small places.
What's the process if someone has a question? What's the best thing for them to do? How do they?
It depends. You can call. You can email me. I put my email out there and have people send me email
that's great.
to Joe at Stanley Law offices all the time, and I'm surprised I don't get more. I'm surprised that I don't get more. People call, and if you have a question, we try to answer or send you to somebody who can, because I would say 30% of our calls are about issues that we absolutely don't have anything to do with. I mean, we don't.
But you still maybe direct people to where they can find an answer.
We have a whole list of resources that we try to send people to help them when they have questions. Nice. And again, part of the problem in the world today is there's just not a lot of people listening. There just aren't a lot of people listening earnestly to people who have real, not imagined, but real issues.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of inequalities in the world and a lot of issues out there that are not being addressed, and people are aggrieved, and if no one's listening, again, that generates anger.
So people are people allowed to get a second opinion? They talk to someone. Are they allowed to do that, or is there some kind of law that they can't do that?
Oh, you're entitled to get as many opinions as you want. They're all out there.
Okay. Well, from an attorney. So you've got an 800-608-3333. They can ask questions. StanleyLawOffices.com. Or, that's cool, your own personal email,
Yes.
Joe at StanleyLawOffice.com. They can say, "Hey, Joe," whatever they want to say.
And they do. And make sure you caption it, though. And so I understand it's a question and it's not spam.
Right,
Not,
right.
not the eatable kind.
Yeah.
But
Good.
because I do get a lot of emails.
Thank you for joining us today.